Hi ladies, I'm going to show you how to fix your jamberries if they start lifting at the tip. Sometimes you can see the very edges of them start to lift, especially if you've peeled something or been working. I've already done a couple fixes on mine when I was unpacking and moving stuff in my garage and getting really dirty and gross. I actually don't have any repairs needed at this moment, so I'm going to peel back a piece of mine so I can kind of show you. For example, here you can see that it's peeled. I just peeled it back a little bit. There are lots of tips that you can find online. Some people like to use a heat source to then reapply it. The only problem with that is if you've already gotten dirt and stuff underneath there, it's not going to go back to your nail and stay. So I actually just trim mine. So I'm going to take some nail clippers, and what I do is I just kind of cut that little bitty piece. Believe it or not, you're not going to notice unless it's a huge piece, and then you might want to consider doing the heat source option or just replacing it. But it still gets it's still rough, and it's going to catch. So then what I do, depending on how far back it is, I use a file. Now my file, I have like the softer and then the rougher one. The rougher one is what I use when I apply. So I do it like at a 45-degree angle like this when I'm applying them, and that residue, kind of peels away. That's what I use the rough one. For my repairs, I usually like to use the soft one just because I don't want to put a big rough edge on the jamberry that I want to stay on. So what I do is I do that same angle, and I just kind of file it away, and you'll see a little bit of residue go away. But what that does is, instead of imagine if you had like a microscope, that you would see the jamberry go straight and then a little bit of drop and then your nail. This kind of makes that a gradual transition so that it's not catching as much. If it's thinner at the bottom and file downward, then it doesn't have as much to catch on, and so it tends to not catch. One of the things when I apply mine, I always make sure I do is I don't cut it where my nail ends. I trim it a little heavier, and then I use that rough edge to get that residue here, to get the residue peeling away at that 45-degree angle that I was talking about before. You can see right here how the edge of my nail is white, has that white line. I get that because when I apply them and then when I do the filing to get the rest away, it causes that little white line. And what that does is kind of makes a buffer between whatever the ends of your nails touch and the actual jamberry. And so you have a lot less contact with the end of your jamberry and more contact with the end of your actual nail. And so you can do things like peel and work with things and it not actually touch the end of your jamberry, which also helps keep it from peeling. The metallics are a thicker jamberry, and they do tend to lift a little more and are harder to apply. So what I would do is I would definitely make sure that you're heating it long enough so that it is really, really pliable and can stick to your nail. Make sure your nails are very clean. I use a buffer, and I buff mine right before I apply them so that it's a nice, soft nail bed that the jamberry can actually adhere to better. So if they start peeling, I trim it, like I said, a little bit, and then I just kind of file it till it's smooth. And you can see this one is actually now really smooth, and it's not like super obvious. Let me see if I can get a good angle. That I'm like doing this backwards. It's not super obvious that there's a piece missing, especially as you realize people are not looking at your nails. They're looking at it from this distance, and you won't be able to tell. And so you can see, I worked in the garage yesterday, and I have this nail, this center. Now, the beach chair has stripes, so it's kind of hard to see this, but I have a whole little section that I trimmed down and then filed because it had peeled when I was cleaning my garage. So anytime you're doing anything really tough, like scrubbing something bad or digging in the dirt, you're probably going to experience some problems. Honestly, a lot of times I didn't want to just peel them off, but if I take the time to fix them, they're pretty repairable. So anyway, so that's my advice on trying to fix a snag. You can try it. If there's nothing to trim, you can just try filing it. This is really nerdy, keep a nail file in my car. So when I'm at stoplights, I kind of look at my nails and be like, oh, that could be a little bit smoother so it won't catch, and then I smooth it out. because I get really OCD about anything peeling or anything getting on my nerves. So anyway, those are my tips. I hope it helps, and I'll see you later.